The end of an era. Zach Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos. I want to go over the trade compensation, the salary cap relief, and what the impact is on the NFL draft. Jets! All right, gang, welcome in. It's finally happened. The New York Jets have traded Zach Wilson to the Denver Broncos. He came in with those old crappy uniforms, and we threw him out with the bathwater and the old crappy uniforms. We get a new fresh start. He gets a new fresh start. This coming by way of 𝐼𝐼𝐼𝐼𝐼𝐼𝐼𝐼𝐼. According to him, the New York Jets are getting the 203rd overall pick in the 6th round and $2.75 million in salary cap relief. The Broncos get a 7th round pick 256. So not the Mr. Irrelevant pick, one pick earlier. And they get Zach Wilson. So ultimately, for the New York Jets, you're trading up from the 7th round into the 6th round and gaining $2.75 million in salary cap relief. Now, Zach Wilson was supposed to be due a 1-year, $5.5 million contract. So basically, the Broncos and Jets said, hey, let's split the salary. You get a little bit of relief. The Broncos, who don't have a crazy ton of cap space, you guys get a bunch of relief. Not relief, but you get a quarterback on a really cheap contract. So now maybe there's a situation where the Denver Broncos are saying, hey, maybe we don't need to sell the farm to get all the way up. Maybe it's worth it just kind of playing out this year, taking our lumps this season with Zach Wilson. If he booms, great. Then maybe you figured it out. If he doesn't boom, which is probably the more likely situation, then you're going to have a top draft pick in 2026. But what that also means is maybe the Broncos are a little less likely to move up or give up the picks needed to get as high as they may have wanted to go in this draft for a new quarterback. Now, I've been on record saying I think the Patriots at number 3 are a very likely trade-out scenario, and I think it depends on what happens at number 2. I could either see the Raiders or the Vikings jumping up to number 3. If if Drake May is there, I think the Vikings come up. If Jaden Daniels is there, I think the Raiders come up. And either way, it sort of leaves the Broncos in this weird flux, because even though I think the Chargers want to trade down, they're not going to trade down with the division rival. So realistically, their best case scenario might just be sitting and waiting until pick 12 and taking whatever quarterback they see fit there. And then obviously Zach would be relegated to the backup role. Or maybe they just go best player available and they just continue to build their roster in a season that they're, might start losing some guys. Cortland Sutton could ultimately wind up being a, trade deadline type move at some point. He's looking for a new contract. How big of a standoff is that going to be? Where do, the Broncos see themselves? Are they trying to compete for next year, or are they just trying to build for the future? Either way, Zach Wilson out of here. We don't have to talk about him anymore. So there's that, I guess. Now, as far as the other quarterbacks from that class and how things could have happened. So I say we're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it, obviously, for this video, but we don't have to talk about it after this video anymore. So obviously, Trevor Lawrence goes number 1 to the Jaguars. He's in the midst of likely getting a very big contract extension from them. But the other 4 quarterbacks, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, all traded this offseason. So for all the people out there that are saying, well, the Jets could have gone a different route at quarterback, really the only option was to run it back with Zach and then maybe franchise him the following year, or take the 49ers trade-up package, which is what I would have preferred to do, I guess, in hindsight. And then you just punt on quarterback. Because even the following year, your best options for quarterback would have been Kenny Pickett or Russell Wilson. And I don't think either one of those guys are a player that the Jets would want to sign up for. So you're probably still waiting until 2023 in that capacity, but you have a far more built-out roster because of the trade down with the 49ers at that point. But hey, look, you live and you learn. It sucks. This is one of the biggest busts of all time if you're a New York Jet fan. Now, I'll be honest, it's not the biggest bust for me. It's a huge bust because obviously it's the number 2 overall pick. And it is a quarterback, so all the eyes were on him, and there was a lot of embarrassing moments over the course of the last 3 years. But I think for me, the bigger bust is Vernon Gholston still in my book. Again, that was pick, 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken. But that pick may have, really hurt the Jets in a stretch of those championship games back with Mark Sanchez. So I don't know. I'm splitting hairs here. Vernon Gholston not having any sacks is pretty much like Zach Wilson getting almost no touchdowns. It's been absolutely abysmal. I've showed the stat, the passing yardage with Zach at quarterback versus literally any other quarterback that's under center for the Jets is just wildly different. It's like 30th in the league up to like number 1 in the league. And there's, little things you can nitpick on that. But either way, this was not a very good selection for the New York Jets, and one that, look, it just sucks. Sometimes you miss on a quarterback. As far as what this could mean for the New York Jets in the NFL draft, Now, you might say 203. That's not really a crazy pick to go up. You're going from 7th round to 6th round. But what's really interesting is when you combine those picks. So let's say you take your 3rd round pick, number 72, pick 185, our existing 6th round pick, and then 203, the new 6th round pick that the Jets just got from the Broncos. That equals 257.6 points. And according to the trade value chart, that would get the Jets all the way up to pick 66, which is just a tiny, tiny, itty bitty 2 picks out of the 2nd round. So that means the Jets are at least kind of there. So if you do that and you package it with maybe a 2025 pick, Jets are moving up into the 2nd round potentially, because realistically, the Jets got, what, 7 draft picks? I think it's probably a little unlikely that the New York Jets are going to be able to roster every single one of these players. I think it's probably worth it for the Jets and this team to get the best quality of players as opposed to maybe the quantity of players, especially because I think they could bring in McGovern. I think, it's not out of the realm of possibility that a 𝐅𝐑𝐄𝐄 could come in later on. And I like those veteran presence more than I like any rookies that are going to be added on later in the draft. So if it were me, I would be trying like hell to get up as high as I can in multiple rounds to get the best quality of player. Boys and girls, I want to hear your thoughts down below. What'd you think of the Zach Wilson trade? What was your favorite Zach Wilson moment of the last 3 years? Is it him getting traded away? That could very well be it too. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you are tuning in tonight, we're going to be over on the Talking Jets channel. Myself, O'Leary, Green Bean, Dom C, Jeremy, and Tigo. We're doing a full 32-team mock draft. We're pairing up based on shows. So myself and Dom C versus O'Leary and Egghead versus Green Bean and Tigo. Who's going to take home the championship? I want to hear from you guys. I'm excited to see you guys over there. This is exciting that Zach Wilson is no longer here. Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets. Jets!